Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manflow Yoga. In this video, I'm going to talk about a silly trick that you can do to help lock in better habits or better behaviors. The inspiration from this came from a book that I recently started reading called Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg. And I thought about not getting this book at first because if you know anything about me, I'm very passionate about building new habits, about learning about habits, about how they're made. And so my initial thought was there can't possibly be anything new in this book. But I was very wrong. There are tons of new perspectives in this book about how to build habits, lots of new information, and I've already started implementing and even teaching a lot of them. So basically the premise of the book is that you can build habits, life-changing, significant habits, by first building tiny habits. It's all about making them consistent. Rather than making them super effective at first, we just want to get into the habit of doing them on a regular basis. And so he suggests doing 3 new habits at a time. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll take your advice. 3 sounds like a lot to do at once, but I'll go for it. So I took 3 habits. And they were all equally important to me. The first habit was doing yoga in the mornings. So I was going to, as soon as I finished my walk in the mornings, I would come home, I would put my dog's leashes back on the porch, and then I would do a yoga pose, 1 yoga pose. The second habit was breathing and being more mindful. So when I would step outside in the morning, I would take 3 deep breaths. I would work on being present. I would work on some gratitude, just feeling happy in the moment. And the third habit, and this is the one that worked, was hanging on a pull-up bar when I walk by it in the hallway. So each of these behaviors has a very specific prompt or a very specific trigger or a cue. They happen in a specific situation that already happens every day. But I did one thing at the end of that third behavior, which made it so that that behavior was something that I actually locked in, something that I did on a regular basis, something that I felt the urge or a compulsive behavior to do somehow, and here was the difference. So with the other behaviors, I got home, I would take the leash, throw it back on the porch, and then I would do some yoga, right? And then after I finished, I would just go back inside. For the breathing, I would walk outside, I would stand, I would take 3 breaths, I would try to feel happy, try to feel present, try to feel conscious, and then I would go on my walk. With this third behavior, with the pull-up bar, I would walk by it in the hallway, I would see it, I would hang on the pull-up bar for 1 breath, put my hands up, hold on, just do 1 breath, and then after I finished, I celebrated. I pretended like I just heard some really great news. I pretended like I just had this huge success. And by doing this, what I was doing was tying the behavior into the dopamine release that you get as a result of succeeding, that you get as a result of achieving some success. And biologically, what's happening here is you are training your brain to associate that behavior with a reward. So I was basically making it so that my brain, when I wanted to feel a sense of reward or a sense of success, it would think about doing the pull-up bar, hanging on the pull-up bar. And I know that that worked because I was in my office one morning working, and when I'm in work mode, that's pretty much what I do. I have specific tasks, but whenever I feel a lull in activity or I reach a stopping point or I reach kind of a wall, I'll think about other things that I can do to feel successful. So that might be checking statistics. That might be looking at YouTube views. That might be looking at book sales or yoga mat sales, or looking at emails or whatever that is. But for some reason, my brain thought in that moment, pull-up bar, go hang on the pull-up bar. And it's because I celebrated at the end of that behavior. And with the other behaviors, with the walking or doing yoga after a walk, or stepping outside and doing breathing, the reason why those didn't succeed, or one of the reasons they didn't succeed, is because I didn't attach that reward to it. So my brain didn't really have that urge to do it. Now, there were some other factors involved as well when I thought about it. So one other factor was in the hallway, there are minimal distractions, right? There's not a lot going on in my hallway when I'm home by myself. So there's nothing to distract me from the trigger, which is when I see the pull-up bar when I walk by it. So there was nothing distracting me from doing it. In the context of the outdoor behaviors, right, finishing after I come home from my walk and putting the leashes back on the porch and doing a yoga pose, also stepping outside onto the porch and breathing, there are a lot more distractions involved. So on multiple mornings that week, someone was driving by. I think UPS was dropping off a package. So there were distractions that made me not think about the trigger. And then by the time I thought about it again, it was already hours later. There was no difference in importance. You might even argue in these behaviors, you might even argue that because I'm a yoga instructor, the yoga in the morning would have been more important to me. But the reason why that pull-up behavior won was because I celebrated at the end of it. So this is something that anybody can do. It doesn't involve any money. It involves about 5 seconds. Yes, it does involve you feeling kind of silly because you're celebrating, because you're doing fist pumping and you're like shaking your hands overhead or you're going, woo, whatever it is. But the point is that when you do that, when you pretend that you're celebrating, it does release dopamine. And so by doing that, you are tying together that behavior and the reward so that your brain does it automatically without you even thinking. So just a cool little trick. You can try it out. If you're following along to the Build a Habit Challenge, I hope you're enjoying the challenge. We're doing lessons every weekday. You can learn more about the challenge at manfulyoga.com/BTH. You can join now, even if you want to. And also, if you're interested in learning more about behavior change and building better habits, I have a 3-day immersion program that I do here in Austin, Texas. We did this in October of 2019. It was a huge success. And you can learn more about that. The next one is going to be on February 28th through March 1st. You can learn more about that at manfulyoga.com/BTBU. Link will be here in the description below. But anyways, this is just a cool story that I thought you'd enjoy hearing, and I urge you to try celebrating to help lock in better behaviors. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Like this video if you liked any part of this video, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.